The felon seems most excited when he's talking about ways he can benefit his rich friends' lives. For $5 million, you can have dinner with him at Mar-a-Lago. For $5 million, you can buy a gold card. Meanwhile, this guy is so breathtakingly stupid and so divorced from reality. There is a situation that has been completely debunked, just like they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats during the campaign, and he can't let it go. He believes the most outrageous conspiracy theories. But this is one of the more dangerous propaganda moves I've seen MAGA make. And it is this propaganda regarding Social Security. And last night, Trump repeated debunked claims that dead people that are 100, 150. He said even one person is 360 years old, older than this country, is receiving Social Security. Here's the problem. Number one, this has been debunked. And number two, the software that codes this is older than the age of the crackheads that run Doge, and they didn't understand the coding. This is completely debunked. No dead people are receiving Social Security. But the danger here is that Donald Trump and MAGA are starting the propaganda to try to get the American public to think that Social Security is somehow corrupt because he wants to grab all the money so he can buy crypto with it, because he doesn't give a shit about poor people. Here is former Transportation Secretary and Rhodes Scholar Pete Buttigieg. And he says in a tweet last night, what he said about Social Security payments has been repeatedly debunked. So the question isn't whether he's lying about this. The question is why? What is this a pretext for? He and the GOP have long shown interest in going after Social Security. What are they going to try? And I think Pete is spot on here, because they are starting the propaganda just like they do about immigrants being, these huge, criminals, just like the propaganda they started about trans people. They're starting it about Social Security, which every American earnestly pays and is entitled to receive once they retire.
So many of Trump's voters and the MAGA base depend on Social Security. And what he has shown a complete talent for is having people get excited and voting against their own interest. So you have MAGA people looking at this without going into the facts, because as Pete Buttigieg said, this is not true. Everybody knows it's not true, that it has just a tiny bit of curiosity about the facts. And he is going in and he is convincing these people that Social Security is bad, so they'll vote against their own interest and support him. And make no mistake, one of the reasons he wants to cut Social Security is so he can increase the tax cuts for billionaires. He wants to increase the deficit by $4 trillion for allowing billionaires not to pay taxes on the backs of the fixed income people that are in his base. And the curious thing to me has always been they will go for it.
So, here's the problem. In the past, they've gone for it, but right now they're going at such a record speed, and they're taking away these benefits from people. He's firing a huge portion of the workforce. A lot of reporting says we are already in a recession. Like, this man in 7 weeks has completely taken a wrecking ball to our economy and to our standing in the world in 7 weeks. And so the Republicans thought, oh, you know what? We're off last week. And they went home and they thought, we'll do some town halls, do a little victory lap with our base. And they went into deeply red districts. And we've played it, and you've probably seen it all over the internet. But these MAGA constituents are furious. Veterans are getting fired. They're pissed off about Doge. They don't like the idea that a South African-born billionaire who doesn't know anything about governing is completely realigning our entire federal government. And then you have big Christian Moses Mike Johnson. What would Jesus do? Talks to God all the time, gets on camera and lies with and he believes his lies, that all of these people at these town halls are paid agitators. And we've shown the footage of these people in the town halls. This is as MAGA American cracker as it gets. These are not paid agitators. One MAGA Republican said, I saw somebody with blue hair there or purple hair. And I'm like, get over yourselves. But nonetheless, I digress. So, of course, what happens next? Please put up the post. No more town halls. NRCC chief tells House Republicans. So this is all a part of the fix. The fix is in. They're selling you propaganda, and now they're quieting down the voices of Republican voters because they don't want any of this to catch on. We had Eric Swalwell on Sunday, and what the some of the House Democrats are starting to do is go into MAGA districts and host town halls where these cowards are too big of wussies to host them themselves. And we definitely want to partner with Eric Swalwell and others because we live in a deeply red state. Stephanie Bice is our congresswoman, and I'll invite her to be on the pod to come defend all this crap. And if she won't do it, then we'll host a town hall here in Oklahoma City. But this is the way. I think this is a huge way for Democrats. The messaging here needs to be they pitch you lies. They pitch you propaganda. They lie to you so that the billionaires can have more money. They rile you up to get mad at gay people. They rile you up to get mad at less than 1% of the population, which are trans people. They rile you up to get mad at immigrants. Meanwhile, all of the money is going to the billionaire class. Elon Musk is funded by upwards of $20 billion, and he has the audacity and just is such a diabolical person that he's worth that much money, and he's coming in and firing all of these people. And I noticed last night, big Christian Moses Mike Johnson and former failed drag queen J.D. Vance sitting up there laughing when Trump talked about slashing jobs. They sit and they laugh and they think it's funny that people are suffering. And that's what's so sick about MAGA. These voters sit and they watch Fox News all the time because they feast on the cruelty because it tastes good to them. This cruelty tastes good to them. And that is the cancer that is this MAGA movement.
I look at Mike Johnson and J.D. Vance, and I honestly think that I find them more repulsive than I find Trump. And he is at an all-time high, but they are so smug when they are laughing at people suffering. But I just have to go back to Moses Mike sits on these shows saying, oh, well, these are, Democratic agitators, just like January 6th was Antifa and all that. He knows because they're telling their members don't go to town halls. So he knows he's lying and he doesn't care because he has service to one person, which is Trump. And I do wonder, does Mike Moses realize this is all Trump stuff is Russian propaganda, or is he so stupid that he just is blindly loyal to Trump without looking at any of the consequences?
This is a really dangerous person because he believes that Trump was sent by God.
I forgot.
You know what I mean? This is a real crackhead. I mean, he genuinely believes that Trump appointed these Supreme Court justices and they overturned Roe, and that this is biblical to him. So this is like a whole nother layer of crazy shit. You're trying to apply some form of logic. This guy says on camera, God told me I was Moses. And then we all just act like this is normal to have a Speaker of the House that has imaginary conversations. But next up, we have Fox News trying to deal with the fallout of the Trump tariffs. And yesterday, Trump announced the tariffs on Canada and Mexico, 20%. Fox, the stock market immediately tanks. Fox sends somebody out to one of those big Ford car dealerships. And I'm not going to play the first part of the interview because the part with Maria Bartiromo's meltdown is way more delicious. But anyway, they're asking this guy who sells trucks like Ford F-150s, how much is this truck? And he said, well, it used to be $80,000. Now this is a $100,000 truck. We just got emails from our bosses. We have to raise the price on this truck to $100,000. This is insanity. This is crazy. I can't believe Trump is doing this. And watch how Fox is having to spin this.
This is pretty radical.
I hear you. There you go, Maria, where the rubber meets the road here.
All right, great. Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff, thank you. Thank you so much. Jeff Flock at the Dodge Ram plant. Not plant. It's not a plant, Chris. They're selling cars. Thank you. Dealership. But you know what?
Okay, at first, I want to play the rest of it. First, she's like, she's speechless.
Right.
Yeah, great. Because she's like, oh shit. Like for 10 years, I have been going hard in the paint for this. I have like sat here and done the mental and moral gymnastics for this piece of shit. And now people that buy Ford F-150s, the epicenter of the Trump vehicle, are getting zapped with an additional 20 grand. Okay, play the rest of the clip.
Let me ask you this, okay?
Yes.
How many Dodge Rams do you see driving around Europe? Okay. How many Dodge Rams do you see driving around India? Not many, I bet. Why? Because they don't buy our cars. And that's what President Trump is trying to change. Maybe Dodge should start building them here and selling them here.
Okay, so this is one of the things that Republicans, they have to shape shift all the time.
Right.
The reason that corporations have gone abroad is because there's no regulations, and they've gone abroad because then they make more money by using much cheaper labor and not paying people a livable wage, which is incredible considering what our minimum wage is.
How bad is it?
And so they would rather violate human rights. And the Republicans made this path to build your cars elsewhere and then import them back in. Okay. All right. Next up, we have some hopium for you guys. And this is a congressman out of Colorado really reading and dragging MAGA for filth. Let's watch it.
Currently, reports this morning indicate that in the Republican caucus meeting, a member of Republican leadership stood up in the meeting and supposedly told his caucus a simple instruction. Not a single one of you should attend or participate in a town hall. Why? Because they are scared of their own constituents, Mr. Speaker. They understand that if they hold a town hall with their community, they will hear outrage from everyday American citizens who are pissed off, who are angry that the prices for everything are going up because of this reckless Trump administration's policies. Again, you want to spend a half hour, an hour, 8 hours debating labeling requirements for pool heaters? Be my guest.
It's so true.
They have absolutely no substance. They are all flash. Here's the thing. These Republicans know this is a national security nightmare. They know that the American people are getting ready to be furious over the cuts to Medicaid, Medicare. They know they are fucking over veterans. They know what Elon Musk is doing is wrong. But you know what? They care more about power and being in the good graces of Donald Trump than they care about their constituents. And that's not new, but I feel like it's magnified to a new degree.
And I just think there is this appetite for cruelty in the Republican movement that started decades and decades and decades ago. Ronald Reagan appeared a lot nicer than Donald Trump, spoke a lot more clearly than Donald Trump, but he demonized the poor, and people feast on that. They feast on this idea that if somebody's poor, they're lazy, and that if you're rich, you're chosen and you work harder. And Republicans really feast on this type of cruelty, and they like otherizing and they like tribalism within the country. And I'm just going to point out the majority of these people are really big Bible thumpers, and the fact that they feel this appetite for cruelty, in my opinion, goes back to if you worship something that will send you to hell to burn over and over and over again for all eternity, there's an inherent cruelty in that religion. And I think that us always turning a blind eye to dealing with these churches where we live, there are two things that are taught from the pulpit: Jesus Christ and Republican policies.
Right.
And these people are indoctrinated in it. And being a Republican is a part of the culture. They believe that the devil and Democrats are synonymous, and Jesus and Republicans and capitalism are synonymous. And until we really, really want to do the work on this type of cruelty and this appetite for cruelty and this appetite for just mind-numbing stupidity and the lack of critical thinking will continue in this country. Please subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you all later.